Let's just get something straight here. This little, my studio, my traveling studio that I am in, it is not a van. It's an SUV. It's a Dodge Nitro, actually. Everybody always says that I'm in my van. Do I look like a person that would drive? No offense to the soccer moms out there, but yeah, Roxanne will never be caught driving a van, alive or dead. Okay, so yeah, no, I'm not a van person, and you know, maybe the inside is so basic. It's definitely an American car, but yeah, this is not a van. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Roxan. I'm coming to you today with the review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 7, Episode 6. So let's get to it, shall we? Alright, you guys, so the show starts where it ended last week, which was with the big blowout that Cynthia and Nene was having at the whole girls' night out dinner. Nene's crying, Cynthia can't really quite get a word in edgewise. The girls are all sitting there like, Nene is so upset that she finally walks out, I guess to get herself together. So while she's gone, you know, Kandi was just like, well, that didn't go all that way. No, it did not go well, Kandi. It kind of did have that feel like we was peeking in on like some best friends fighting. So when Nene comes back into the room, Kandi and the rest of the girls, they all go out. And, you know, they're just really shocked at, you know, just the sheer emotion of Nene and, you know, how upset she was. And, you know, Cynthia, it was just bad. Everybody, I think, was pretty taken aback by that scene because you could tell that it was no acting, that it was all for real emotion. So once the girls are gone, Cynthia and Nene are talking. And, you know, Cynthia just tells her, just like I told you guys last week, you know, she just feels like that whole bitch comment was where it just kind of fell apart. You know, she feels like there's no respect in the relationship of their friendship. And everybody was telling her that she needed to leave Nene alone. So, like I said, definitely Cynthia buckled under the pressure. Nene told her, you know, she just didn't understand why she didn't say anything to her. They had got past it. And then, you know, we on this show, nobody cares about us or our friendship. And you are pretty much falling for the okie doke, you know. So Nene was just like, if you'd have said something, I would have been able to adjust it on my end. You know, just like I said, it just got messed up with that whole Peter is a bitch comment. But she's not too far off, but we'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, Cynthia's just like, well, you know, I just want to know, what does this mean? Like, you know, because I just want us to be friends again and to support each other like we used to. And Nene was just like, I just feel like we should move on. Now, I wasn't really sure what Nene meant by that. I thought that she meant at that time that, you know what, is done. You know, and that's that. Okay, I don't hate you, but I don't think we're gonna be friends anymore. However, it was real vague, and you know, of course, they were both tired. They're both emotional. Okay, they both have said a lot. You know, maybe it was just time to end this conversation. So they get up, they give each other a hug. You know, and you know, I still love you, and you know, Cynthia's hugging on to her tight, and then they walk out of the room arm in arm. When they get home with their men, nobody really seems to know exactly what all of that the night before had meant. We get Cynthia. Cynthia is giddy and postcoital at the possibility of renewing and rekindling their friendship. She's excited, you know, she's smiling, she's all in this girl, let me tell you something mode, you know, but she's talking to Peter, which is sort of the same thing. The whole conversation was quite strange because if you were to close your eyes and just listen to the conversation, you wouldn't know that Cynthia was talking about either her good girlfriend or her good boyfriend, okay? And I mean in a romantic relationship. She definitely, there's some sort of strange boundary that's been crossed with Nene and Cynthia's relationship, and I think we were able to see it really clearly last night. So she's telling Peter exactly what went down the night before, and Peter is just sitting up there, I mean, just getting his panties in a fucking bunch. He is just like, what? You fucking mean to tell me that you all excited about getting back together with this girl when she, you know, she don't have no respect, RESPECK, for your friendship, our relationship, whatever. I was sitting there listening to Peter, and I was just like, okay, before we get on Peter, it's obvious that Cynthia has definitely given way more attention to her friendship / relationship with Nene than she has with Peter. Now, like I've said before, that is nobody's fault but Cynthia's. Peter, though, the way that he was sitting there and saying how, I don't want to go back to the way it was, and, me not having my wife, and, everything's been better without Nene, and, I was able to talk to you, and the sex is better. And I was just like, what the fuck? I mean, really, I guess when you have a friendship with somebody and it's fucking up your sex life with your husband, it is definitely something fucking wrong there, okay? But the whole conversation was just, Peter was, he's a big personality. He's a lot like Nene, very strong personality, obviously, and has his feelings for it, but it just seemed like he was really, really being, okay, I won't say that he was acting like a bitch, okay, but he was somewhere close to being like one, okay? I feel like he's too involved, okay? I feel like, I understand a little bit, but what I think it would have been better for him to say is, look, you and Nene, if you guys gonna be friends and y'all be friends, I'm out of it, okay? I just don't want to go back to the way the shit was. I want you to be the Cynthia that we've gotten before, but but for him to really just put this ultimatum on her, it almost felt like he was backing her into a corner and just being like, if you gonna be with her or you gonna be with me, okay? He didn't say that, but that was truly how I felt. I just felt like it was just bitch made. It was just bitch made. And Cynthia, again, she starts to not really be sure. So now we really realize why Cynthia and Nene are probably not friends anymore. It is because of Peter. Peter is definitely putting the pressure on her not to go back there. People say, like, Roxanne, well, how would you feel if your husband, my husband don't get involved with my friends. My husband doesn't like all my friends, okay? And, but I know how to draw the line between my friendships and my relationship. My husband, but he don't give a fuck. If, if I'm gonna be stressed out about one of my friends getting on my nerves, my husband could care less, okay? And vice versa. I don't care. There's some friends of his that might not be my favorite, but ain't got shit to do with me. That's on you. I think he's just entirely too involved. And even Nene is hip to it, because when she's talking to Greg about the night before as well, Greg was just like, well, it's obvious you guys love each other, you miss each other, why don't you just try to work it out cautiously, okay, just kind of, but Nene was like, Peter doesn't want us to be friends. I think he had a problem with how close we were. Yeah, I don't even know. I just hope I just haven't gotten to that point where I'm shutting down and I'm just not open to being Cynthia's friend anymore. And from judging from all this shit that's going on, I really think that Nene is just done. People keep saying that, well, if Nene and Kim can work it out, then Nene and Cynthia can work it out as well. The difference here is that Nene and Kim were not besties, okay? They hung out, they had a good time, they drank, they laughed and all that, but they weren't besties. They didn't sit down and talk to each other and cry to each other and have emotions with each other and all of that, okay? It's different when somebody that you love, as a friend, as a girlfriend or whatever, really hurts you. And if you're one of those people that just can't get over it, which Nene looks like the type that's just not going to get over it, I think that is done. But yeah, that whole scene with Peter and Cynthia, I was just like, this is really, really whack. Alright, so let's see what else. Phaedra. Phaedra has been solicited by Derek and his big old self. You guys, listen. I just can't really appreciate and get with the masculine gay man who cross-dresses, okay? And they just look like my fucking uncle who just decided to put my aunt's clothes on. Man, he had his feet so stuffed in them damn Manolos. I was just like, not the church pump fat. He had his foot so stuffed up in them goddamn Manolo Blahniks. I was just like, really? For real? Why do you do that? Why do men do that when they don't look feminine? I don't know. It doesn't, I guess maybe they just don't have to. I just don't get the whole extremely male looking cross-dresser to a woman, because it doesn't look attractive to me. I'm not trying to upset none of my cross-dressing gay men out there. Listen, if that's what you do, fine. To me, it don't look good, okay? The motherfucker need a goddamn bra. I'm sure he's sweet. Everybody says that Derek J is really nice. I've been around him, but I haven't ever met him. They say he's nice. I just don't understand why any of his friends don't. Maybe we could just get him just some shit that fit a little bit better. But yeah, I'm going on too long about this. Phaedra is going to represent him in a case. Some woman is suing him because she says that she went to his salon. He took out her good Indian, Eurasian, Malaysian, Brazilian, Russian, all this fucking different types of hair y'all got out there these days. And he didn't put in some old Brandy Hollywood yaki. $4.99 a bag. Okay, so she's saying that he done took her good hair and installed it. So yeah, Phaedra said she gonna represent him. I was so glad when Phaedra was just like, yeah, we gonna get together on this dress of what you gonna wear. Okay, you gonna be giving him all testosterone in the court that day. I was like, thank you, Jesus, because his big ass be came up in there with a fucking ball gown and some sandals or something. Can you imagine what his big ass feet must look like, just in some sandals? Oh, I can't. I'm sorry. I know I might be offending some people. I cannot get with the big man who look like he about to fucking tackle somebody dressed like a woman. Can't do it. I'm sorry. Alright, you guys, and then the rest of it, they go to New York. Cynthia's going to be walking in Kite Brewster's, I think that's his name. Her really good friend, he is a designer. She's going to be walking in his fashion show. So she goes up to New York for Fashion Week. She gets down in there with him, and he tells her that her ass is big, okay? And I was just like, ain't this about the fucking pot calling the kettle black? Negro, wasn't he just smaller just a few seasons ago? Okay, it looked like you didn't found you a couple of pounds yourself, Kite, okay? But I guess he ain't gonna be on the runway. So he's just like, yeah, you done got this big ass, and she was just like, yeah, well, in Atlanta, I'm skinny. You get out here in New York with these 85-pound models, then yeah, I guess she would look big. Cynthia's kind of off her game. She's not feeling real confident in her body. She's not really feeling confident in her walk. But I was just like, there ain't no sense of you being all nervous, because he needs you just as much as you need him. And actually, he needs you way more, because you just put his shit on this TV show with this big ass platform for everybody to see. Yeah, he appreciates you. So all that he was doing, please. Okay. Take your big ass up and down that runway, okay? She looked great. I thought she did just fine. Cynthia is 40-something years old. She's not fixing to be on the runway anyway. It's not like she still can't do whatever she got to do and be model. Anyway, y'all, that's it with Cynthia and all of that. We also have Kandi. She goes down to New York because Todd calls her and lets her know that, his mom is still real upset about all the shit that Joyce said about her. So he was just like, I would really appreciate it if you came on up here, and, we just got to make my mom feel a little bit better about all of this. So, Kandi, she begrudgingly agrees to go. It was really funny, you guys, because when she got to New York, she just seemed like she was out of place. I always laugh at how Northerners and Westerners, we can all just kind of blend in anywhere, but you take a Southerner out of the Southern element and they stick out like a fucking sore thumb. It's just something about being from the South that makes it a little bit more conspicuous when you get out, into the real world. I mean, I'm not saying that Atlanta's not the real world, because I love it in Atlanta. I don't see myself moving from here, but you know what I mean. It's funny because Kandi just seemed out of place. Okay, he took her shopping. He wants to give her the whole little, the whole Bronx look. Whenever he goes get the Timbs and the hat and all of that, Kandi is she's entertaining her man. But let's get to the meat, okay? Cynthia and Peter meet Kandi and Todd out for dinner, and once we get past the, they order their food and everything, Cynthia asks Todd, how's everything going with you and Joyce? Before Todd could even say anything, Kandi was just like, they've been doing a lot better. We trying to look forward to the future. But Todd makes it clear that his mom is still very upset about what Joyce said. And you can see that Kandi is starting to get a little tense with all of this. Because Kandi, Kandi is just a non-confrontational, passive-aggressive. She would rather we just ignore the problem instead of, dealing with it. And that's what Todd was saying. He was saying, my mom is upset about it. And Joyce, she says whatever she wants to say and gets away with whatever she needs to get away with. And, Peter, he was trying to lighten the mood. And he was just like, well, that's just Joyce's way. And Todd was like, I don't give a fuck that that's just her way. So then I guess Peter remembered all the shit that he had to go through with his in-laws. He was just like, my mom is still upset about, what what Cynthia's mom and sister did about that damn marriage license. And Cynthia was just like, here you go, nigga, you lying. You ain't never even told me your mama was mad. And he was like, yeah, she was mad about it. And she was just like, every time we get into an argument, okay, he started talking about that damn marriage license and be like, I don't know why you married me. Did you see how Peter tried to cut it? He was just like, okay, you ain't even gotta say all of that. Gave her the eye and everything. Okay, she shut it down real quick. She was just like, well, you usually just go there. I was just like, oh, now that was interesting. Somebody on Twitter said that Cynthia is scared of Peter. I don't think Cynthia is scared of Peter. As a matter of fact, I'm sure she's not scared of Peter. But I think that she might be intimidated by him, you know, because like I said, he's a big and strong personality, a lot like Nene. And when you put a person like Cynthia with people like Nene and Peters, okay, that's why they end up together, because, you know, she's such an easygoing, kind of easily manipulated or malleable, pliable, whatever the word is that I'm looking for. Yeah, when Peter did that, I was just like, oh, this is something new I ain't never seen. He gave her the eye and everything. Like, bitch, I said, you better shut the fuck up. So anyway, Todd and Kandi, and Bravo. Okay, side note, I saw y'all messy asses put that damn camera on Todd's ring finger when, you know, Cynthia was asking how long it's been that they've been married now. Yeah, they being messy. Todd doesn't wear a wedding ring and they being messy. Shame on you, Bravo. But anyway, the time has come for them to go out to eat with Sharon. Okay, and when they get there, you can tell that Sharon has been there, okay, and Sharon is looking like she already kind of live, okay? Sharon has one thing on her mind, which is getting her point across of how pissed she is with Joyce calling her a prostitute or a hoe, and that she was not able to confront her about it. Got our little small talk or whatever, you know, Sharon's ordering up her drinks, her food and everything. And, you know, Todd was just like, okay, Mom, so when you coming back down to Atlanta? And she was just like, I ain't coming back down to Atlanta. Okay, shit too stuffy up there for me. And Kandi was just like, oh, you got a problem with Atlanta? She's like, yeah, mainly your mama. I got a problem with your mama. I'll fuck around and catch a case behind your mama down there in Atlanta, so it's best that I stay away. She called me a damn prostitute and I ain't never been no prostitute. Sharon has been a lot of things in her life, but prostitute ain't one of them. Fuck, I own my shit. If I was ever a prostitute, then I would say I was a prostitute, but she lied on me. So Kandi is sitting there. She's trying to not get too upset, but you can tell that this conversation is about to get real bad. And Todd is just sitting there. I'll crack up because Todd loves to be around his mom because his mom says all the shit that he can't say. Okay, being the husband, but the mom don't give a fuck because first of all, the mom is the same age as Joyce. The mom is very outspoken. She ain't the goddamn husband, so she don't give a fuck. She's just letting you know that I don't appreciate your crazy ass mama, you know, besmirchifying my name. Shout out to Donkey. So, you know, she was just like, check my resume. I ain't never been no hoe. And Kandi was just like, well, I never said you was a hoe. She was just like, yeah, you didn't say it, but when you was telling Todd what your mama said, you didn't never tell him that your mama called me a hoe. Okay, Kandi, you just flat out lied, and you need to own that, okay? Well, Kandi didn't want to own that, okay? Kandi, because like I said, she would passive aggressive. She would rather just act like, you know, it ain't no big deal, and that's that. But see, what Kandi just refuses to understand is just because you accept the bullshit of your mama, okay, everybody else doesn't have to, and they are not going to. So when I'm mad about the bullshit that your mom said about me, then let me be mad about it. Don't sit up here and try to belittle it. But I'm like I said, you guys, Kandi is not fixing to get me upset. Not today. Because her whole reaction to all of that was really working my nerves. But I was just like, well, Roxanne, we already know how Kandi is. What more did we expect? So now, all of a sudden, Kandi is mad too. My mama says shit about people all the damn time. I do not keep up with everything my mama says about everybody. And Sharon still wouldn't back up. She was just like, that's fine, Kandi, but if you would have just told the truth from the beginning, then we wouldn't be having this conversation, okay? Because I would have been able to confront your stupid ass mama at the wedding. But the fact that you lied, I mean, you guys are just getting married, and you already starting off your marriage with a lie. Okay, well that hit like a little, you know, that hit a nerve with Kandi, because she was just like, okay, well I lied, okay. But I was just like, Kandi, no, you can't be mad for what she's saying. Sharon was just like, I'm gonna bust that bitch in the mouth next time I see you. You best believe it's gonna be a confrontation. Well, Kandi was just like, well, I'm not gonna let that happen. So she was just like, listen, I'm not trying to threaten her or anything, but I'm just letting you know it's gonna be a confrontation for sure. And then Todd was just like, well, mommy, you did say you was gonna hit her in the mouth. She said, that ain't no lie. I'm not lying on her. That's what the fuck I'ma do when I see her. I was cracking up. And damn Sharon was so heated. Okay? She must have got her ass up and went and snatched them salt and pepper shakers like, give me this fucking seasoning. Sat down like, shit. The fuck you think this is? So, you know, Kandi, she's getting more and more upset about it, okay, but trying to keep it under wraps. You can say whatever you want, but my mama is still my mama, and I love her to death, so I don't give a damn what people think about my mama. Right or wrong, I still love my mama. I was just like, who's saying anything about you having to stop love your mama? If you would just set some sort of boundaries for your mother, we wouldn't even be there. Okay, but you know what, Kandi ain't gonna do it. Just like I said, she ain't fixed to kill me today. Not today. I did like how Todd kind of gave her the ultimatum, like, listen, your mama ain't running shit over here. Okay, if you want this marriage to work, then you gonna have to do something about your mama just being able to say and do and go and whatever she want to do, and ain't nobody else, you know, ain't nobody else supposed to say anything else about it. So yeah, I think that was like a warning from Todd. Okay, your mama is gonna be a problem here, and I'm really worried about their relationship now that Sharon has passed, because if I was Todd, not saying that this is how he feels or anything, but somewhere inside of me, I would have some very ill feelings, things that I may have been able to try to just laugh off or brush off, being, you know, if I was Todd before my mom passed. Once my mom passed, like, I would really have a lot less patience for Joyce. This might be something that's going to either strengthen their relationship, because Kandi will realize that, you know, okay, yeah, maybe I need to do something about this, or to fuck it up, because... But this is like this is a strange little time. I'm not wishing it on them, because I really like them together. I like Kandi. I like Todd. I think that he's good for her, you know, and he seems to love her. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting what happens there. Kandi is like, yeah, she just has this wall, this block she just refuses to understand, and that's why I'm not getting into it. All I know is Sharon was just like, yeah, I got some shit for your mama, okay, and them two old ass ladies that she called her sister. She was like, you know what, North seemed to be okay, but that other one, yeah, that bitch can catch these hands too, okay, she can catch this fade as well. I was cracking up, okay, but you know, no, Sharon was just like, I'll sue her ass, okay, because she can't be on TV just talking about me all willy-nilly and it don't be no consequences for her. So I just hate that Sharon died. This is gonna be bad for Joyce. This season is gonna make Joyce look even worse. Alright, you guys, let me get off of here. I'm in a different location. Just got my eyebrows done, and these people over here are just like, what the fuck is she doing in the back of her car? So let me get off of here. You guys remember to rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel's for itsrox, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. Alright? Alright. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Until next time, Roxstars. Bye.